dear friends, this is Dr. Amarjeet Kaur, Professor of Accounting and Business Communication at the Department of Management, Gurugram University, Gurugram. I am author of about 56 research papers and 9 books. I have the privilege to work with Valparaiso University, USA and North Dakota State University in USA. Apart from my industry experience of 5 years in India, and teaching experience of more than 2 decades. So this is my privilege to be here with you and to discuss about employment communication, under that group discussion. So friends, in the first half, few minutes ago, we were talking about what group discussion is, what are the prerequisites of a group discussion, what are the benefits of participating in group discussion, and now we will talk about in this half that how to outperform in group discussion, right? So that would be the agenda. For the next few minutes, I will be discussing do's and don'ts of group discussion as well. So first of all, make sure that your knowledge level, the knowledge base is very, very extensive, right? It's very essential to gain knowledge in varied areas, be it sports, politics, economics, companies, the business, social issues, science and trade, commerce, all these issues. So it's very, very essential that the first thing, the utmost important thing is to gain extensive knowledge base about the different topics, about your own country, about your own state, about the globe even, about the world even, right? So it will all depends, if your company is working in a particular sector, the company may like to assess your understanding about that industry or that sector as well. So you have to make an assessment by reading on Quora what kind of GDs were there in the past, recruitments. You may seek inputs from your seniors who have appeared for GDs of such companies or in the past, right? There are a couple of ways to understand the what kind of, but nevertheless you cannot just be preparing in one field or one area. You have to read as much as possible. As I always say, you can sound confident, you can actually take a stand only if you have knowledge about something. If you do not have knowledge, there is no substitute for knowledge, right? The second thing is be logical. If you really want to perform well in a GD, you should be analyzing any social, economic, business, any issue, whatever issue has been given to you very logically without using your personal biases about that situation, about that topic. You may have your personal biases, preferences. Please do not let that preference, that bias come out during the discussion. Make sure whatever you talk sense and you talk in a logical sequence order. The logical flow of talk is the most important thing for you to perform well in a GD. And then to ensure that you stay cordial, you maintain cordiality with your group members and allow others for free expression of thought and opinion. So make sure you express your views freely, but by maintaining cordiality, by maintaining respect to others and their opinion and their thought. You cannot be disrespectful others' views, to others' opinion about any topic whichever is been given to you by the recruiter. Okay, and not only that, you should sound assertive. You should actually be sounding very assertive, while that is maintaining the self-respect. So assertive person is always assumed to be direct. He or she is supposed to be honest and careful about not hurting others' self-respect. So you are assertive, you are firm about your own opinion, and you should be expressing that by maintaining the cordiality, right? But so you are maintaining your self-respect, but by being assertive, because the moment you keep on changing and you are not sounding assertive, you are taken as a weak character, somebody, downward wala person, something like that, so you needed to be assertive during that discussion to outperform others. And another very important point is that you needed to be a patient listener. Of course, the communication is crux, we will come to that. But as I said, during the group discussion, listening skill becomes far more important. Of course, speaking is important. So listening to other person is in a way to show appreciation to the person. It's a way to show respect to the other person who is speaking, right? So please be a patient listener during the group discussion. Using the right language, so your vocabulary should be good, your language should be correct. So you use right words and right phrases, right vocabulary, right language, be it Hindi, English, whichever language is being used. So make sure you use the right word at the right time with the best details you can possibly put up through your language. So that's another point to outperform in a GD. Then be analytical and fact oriented. We cannot actually share our views just subjectively. We should be actually very, very objective whenever we are putting across our point. So our facts should be objective. They should be based on the some analysis. So it's necessary that your point is relevant to the topic you are talking, right? So points can be supported by facts, by numbers, by referring to some data that can be most logical presentation. But make sure you just do not use any vague number. Use facts only if you are sure about it, and you should be knowing about the source of those facts as well. It becomes very, very authentic and very strong point if you mention the fact along with the source, that report did talk about this problem or this number. Wow! The moment you mention about the source of the information or the fact along with the fact itself, believe me or not, you already had won the GD or the mind of the recruiter by doing so. Because then it will be that you are not somebody who just talks vague or subjectively or just for the sake of talking, right? Then there's a possibility that when you put up your point, the other person criticizes it, says, I disagree, this is illogical, this is wrong, any such thing may come to you from some of the member of the group. So be prepared to accept that criticism with respect, right? There could be any kind of disapproval for the point you made by any of the group member, and he or she may be correct. He or she may sound more logical than you, right? So do not get upset. Do not react sharply to that. In case of criticism, you should be pointing out very politely that some criticism which has been made to your point is just flimsy. It's not valid. You may make that point, but politely. In any condition, do not lose the calmness. So it's also important because a recruiter may like to judge you that how will you take the criticism when the boss to whom you would be reporting to in case you are hired, if he or she criticizes you for your work or your contribution or for any of the problem you may have in the future, how would you react? Are you having positive attitude toward the criticism? Are you someone who puts up the points or objects to the criticism but with respect, not losing the calmness? This is going to be a very important thing, that how do you respond to the criticism if it is made in the discussion to you, right? The next point is that try to maximize your participation by putting your views during the discussion. So one should try to contribute fully, though steadily. It cannot be one after another, just snatching the opportunity. No, we should be contributing our point during the discussion, but steadily, slowly, with respect and calmly and composed way. Then we have to ensure that we show our leadership ability in that discussion, because group discussion also evaluates you for your leadership quality. So you can show that leadership ability by taking up the lead to start the discussion in the topic if you are sure about your stand, right? So, or if you are well versed with the topic, you can immediately start the topic, and that proves that you are well prepared, number one, and number two, that you have leadership qualities. You can take a lead when given a chance, which means a person has the capability to grab an opportunity. That's what it means prima facie to the interviewer to begin with, right? Later on, how do you perform throughout? What was your stand, your listening skill, your spoken skills, your everything is being assessed together. So they put things together, but nevertheless, the moment you take up the lead in discussion, it shows your leadership ability. Then make sure the ideas, the arguments you are making, they are relevant to the topic. One should never ever, so this is the do's, the first do's, which is that how can you outperform. So the first do is that a very, very important thing is as a do's in the group discussion, that you do not talk anything out of the scope of the topic. Whatever you are talking, positive, in favor or against the topic, or you just are not making any stand but making your observation, sharing your observation, commenting on someone's stand even, that is possible. But make sure all the discussion is around the topic which has been given to you. We have seen in reality there are people who do not know about the topic. They will actually talk left and right, but they will not talk about the topic because they do not, and that is the worst thing to do in the in a group discussion. Please do not get trapped to that drawback. The next point is that you try to make original points, original views, and support them by substantial reasoning, substantial numbers, facts, right? So the more substantial reasoning to the argument you make, the best it is for you, right? So this is a very important do, that you try to make an original point than whatever has already made. It's a new point, it's an additional point, be it in favor or in against, it should be an original point. Though we talk about repackaging concept in GD, this is when we do not have much knowledge or much information about the topic which has been just incidentally given to you, and you were not prepared about that topic at all, you have not heard about that topic at all. In that case, you can use your common sense and stay silent for some time, listen to 4, 5, 3, basis on the how many number of members are there in the group. So listen to a few of them and then repackage their thoughts in your own language. So it's not your original point certainly, but it's not the repetition of what others said at all. So this is a very smart way of handling a situation in group discussion when you are clueless about a topic. So we call it as repackaging. So you are packaging the thought of someone else in your own bundle, in your own packing, right? So this is a trick we always give to students to repackage, to use repackaging concept. But try to make or stay as original as possible during the group discussion. but only the objective and the actual facts. Then listen to other participants actively and carefully. So you can actually deal with the topic more effectively if you are listening to the participant effectively, because that is how you can either add to the point somebody made, or can challenge him or her, or can take entirely a different stand by proving that his stand is wrong or incorrect, and how, in a very gentle, in a very simple and professional way. Another do is that whatever you say must have a logical flow, and it should be validated with an example possible. We can give some example, we can quote some data, we can quote some facts, and you can actually prove very well in a GD. Another do's in the GD is that make only accurate statement. You cannot actually make inaccurate statement. You cannot afford to make inaccurate statement, subjective statement. Maybe this is like this. No, that maybe word should never be. Maybe this is like this. Maybe this is true, correct. Maybe that is correct. No, I'm sorry guys, do not ever use that maybe stand. You should participate only if you are sure and about the concept, about the topic, about the issue. If you are not, if you do not have much knowledge about the topic being discussed, use the repackaging concept. And when coming to the communication, try to modulate your volume, your pitch, your tone, everything. It's very important. You can actually draw attention of the observer by modulating your voice modulation, by pitch modulation, by changing the tone and tenor. You can actually attract others' attention to you, so positively, of course. Be considerate to the feeling of others. You should be knowing that this particular topic could be sensitive to some society, to some element in the society, to some community, to some religion, to somebody. So when you are putting across your point, be sensitive, be considerate to the feelings of other. You may like to put up your own thoughts, and the previous person who spoke before you made a wrong statement. You can condemn, but in a healthy way, without condemning it directly, in a nice way. Yeah, so my understanding about the topic is entirely different, friends, and I would like to add up, if you may please like to listen, I may like to add up that this is how this should be seen like, this should be looked at. You can nicely put up your thoughts on the topic without hurting others' feeling. And there could be likelihood that everyone in the group is very, very active, and you are not getting a chance to speak. What will you do in that case? You should try to get your chance. So wait for that pause. The moment somebody finishes that sentence and there's a pause of a fraction of a second, grab that opportunity, right? You should certainly not intervene while somebody else is speaking, but there's going to be hardly any time gap. If the people are very active, you will not find much gap between once the previous person stops and the other person takes up. So you make sure you are quick enough to start your argument, your views by grabbing that opportunity, right? So try to get your turn for sure. Be an active and dynamic participant by listening as well as by contributing your thoughts. So it's very important that you are an active and dynamic participant, and whatever you talk, you should talk with confidence, with self-assurance. You should be assertive, you should be participating in the group discussion, but with confidence about the topic. You should sound that you have knowledge, you have confidence about the topic. So these are the do's in a group discussion. What are don'ts? Even they are very important. Don'ts are rather more important, right? You should not be sounding isolated, that somebody is sitting in aloof, if somebody is very shy, cannot speak. You should not sound as shy, aloof, isolated person. That's very bad. If you cannot speak much, you don't have knowledge, at least sound participative in the way of nodding your head by listening to others. If you are sounding an attentive listener, even that is better by, if you are not able to speak much about the topic because you do not have knowledge about that topic. Fine. But make sure you do not sit aloof, you do not sound isolated from the group. That's the worst thing to, look like. Never ever interrupt others, when they are making some argument. So do not interrupt while they are making their argument. Wait for that pause. The moment somebody is pausing, she have to make another point. But you should look for the pause, the moment that pause is being made, and that is the time that you should just walk in, just intervene, get into the topic, right? Another don't is that do not change your opinion. That's the worst thing to do. People may, get influenced by others' opinion during the process of the group discussion. So you started with something, you made your point either in favor or against of the topic, and then gradually you felt that you were wrong. You just felt during the discussion, and then you started changing the situation. That is not correct, right? So try not to change your opinion. But when you think that it was grossly wrong and it was really very bad, in fact, to have such stand, then make sure you accept respectfully and make your stand, yes, thank you for making. So present in a positive way. Otherwise, we recommend never to change the stand or opinion during the group discussion. You should stick to the stand you made in the beginning. Never ever try to make fun of the other participant. Your argument may sound very funny, in reality it could be funny, whosoever had made that argument, but do not smile, do not show any disrespect, do not make fun of the person, irrespective how much funny the statement or argument was, right? And another important thing, we have seen it happening a lot, that people start talking to the person sitting next to him. They start indulging into subgroup conversation. That is the worst thing to happen, right? So do not repeat or use irrelevant material, and do not talk to the person who is sitting to next, left or right or opposite to you. So that subgroup, the conversation is very bad, against the professional ethics, should never ever happen. And also, you should not look into the eyes of examiner. You are not talking to the examiner, mind you. This is a common mistake we see. People who are not prepared, who have not practiced group discussion, this is what they do. Sir, I want to say this thing. Ma'am, so they are addressing to the examiner, to the recruiter. Please, that is completely no, right? You should be addressing to your group members, the person who just finished. You may thank you Mohan, thank you Rakesh, thank you Hitesh, whosoever was, if you know the names, thank you to him, and then I would like to add, or I have another stand, I have a different opinion. So you are addressing to group members, not to the recruiter. And never try to bluff. That is the worst thing, because person is standing silently observing you. They can see your facial expressions, they can see how you are bluffing, and they have the knowledge about the topic you have been given about, right? Believe that. So bluffing could be really fatal to you, friends. So never try to bluff. Always try to use facts along with their source, and never ever bluff. So if you take care of all these facts, or all these points which we just discussed, I am sure you can perform very well in a group discussion. And nowadays, multinational company, they do have this stage in the recruitment for most of the roles. So make sure you prepare well, and I wish you luck. Thank you very much for being with me. I would like to sign off now.